It's Pride Month, guys. What does that mean? It is a time of unity, celebration, love, community for everyone who falls under the umbrella of LGBTQIAAP, or lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, ally, pansexual. I think I got that right. Oh god, 72 takes later. All of those members who find themselves marginalized by the evil, horrible cis heteros can take solace in surrounding themselves with individuals who can relate to their individual, unique experiences. Process begin! Gay pride has been defined as the positive stance against discrimination and violence towards lesbian, gay, bisexuals, and transgender LGBT people to promote their self-affirmation, dignity, equal rights, increase their visibility as a social group, build community, and celebrate sexual diversity and gender variance. The Pride Parade is an extension and a celebration of gay pride, and is an amalgamation of outdoor events celebrating lesbian, gays, bisexuals, transgenders, and queer LGBTQ social and self-acceptance, achievements, legal rights, and pride. The events also, at times, serve as demonstrations for legal rights such as same-sex marriage. The more you know. So, it is intended to be, my understanding is, an inclusion event for those who found themselves and their sexual orientations or their gender identity as being disincluded from the majority population at large. Those majority populations being cis-hets, which is a shorthand vernacular for cissexual, meaning that you identify as the gender you were born as, and heterosexual, meaning same-sex attraction. Except for if you happen to be a police officer, a corporation, a kinkster, or a Trump supporter, member of the LGBT community. I mean, you can probably show up at a said event, but only if you like having original pride energy and getting bricks thrown at you. Because apparently cops don't belong at Pride at all. This is probably silly, but I really have to pose this. Are bricks like a packing requirement of Pride? I wonder. Is it like linens where you have to bring your own, or do they supply them alongside the litany of every rainbow flag combination under the sun that you could possibly have? As your unconfirmed trap mama, I gotta tell you, organized anything really isn't my scene. So you won't see me at these kind of events, because I'm not a big fan of crowds. I don't like parades. Other people's happiness and joy immediately annoys me for some reason. And then there's this last one. It's kind of a requirement, but I prefer if my eyeballs didn't need to be bleached when I see the inevitable kinkster who didn't get the memo that he wasn't invited walking down the street sporting a rainbow latex and rubber suit complete with like open butt flaps and the odd attachment, if you catch my drift. I don't even want to think about it or what they're intended for the use of. No, but last but not least, I personally find it to be a pointless exercise and a waste of time to celebrate an identity based on arbitrary factors one can't control, i.e., I guess, gender identity and sexual orientation. You know what? That's my opinion. You have your pride. I don't mind all that much. It doesn't affect me in the slightest. Go nuts. But Weebo! You say because you think you're clever and you have me backed logically into a corner. You have produced an entire video dedicated to pride, so obviously you must mind all that much if you've dedicated not just headspace, but however long it took for you to research, write, edit, and upload this video. Well, you see, that's where you're wrong. Let's see if you can gauge my purpose. If it becomes more obvious the further we dive into this deep rabbit hole of shenanigans, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, don't get me wrong. I love that we have this inclusive safe space for all of the sexually marginalized groups of our society. Hopefully that was pointedly emphasized enough. Except, ladies and gents, that it's not this gigantic inclusive safe space that everyone wants it to be. Not really. Not at all, actually. We can't deny that the LGBT plus community's wholesale rejection of zoophiles and pedophiles isn't absolutely warranted, because it is. No one wants to associate with that kind of nonsense in the slightest, and I think we can all agree that is the right move. It's one thing most people, except for maybe the odd no-map or a true degenerate of the world, it's the one thing I think we can all agree on. I think we can. I hope we can. And then, of course, we can't forget the furries. No one needs a furry at a Pride event. Even if I'm not going. I prefer if they don't. It's like one step short of zoophilia, guys. Come on. But that is not the argument that I'm making. We're not approaching that. Not with a 10-foot pole. I don't want to. You don't want to. Let's not. The LGBT community, the sanctimonious inclusion peddlers that they are, is riddled with infighting and gatekeeping and exclusionary practices across the board. I don't think I'm telling anyone anything new when I say this. But in case I am, I have compiled several examples of what exactly it is that I'm talking about to kind of illustrate my point. Apparently, and this is interesting, everything from the original lesbian flag, which was created by a racist, biphobic TERF, quote, to hetero-romantic ace people are not acceptable at Pride. I guess. And if that's a bunch of vernacular that you don't understand, that's totally okay. No one does. The acronym and shorthands of the LGBT community change near weekly, and what's appropriate versus what's offensive versus what's alright or what alienates other people per week changes determined by the individual, their status, star signs, the moon phases, how hot my coffee was this morning, whether or not it's the right time of day or the good cycle of the month, or if we've all synced up. It's crazy. You're not alone. Most people don't understand either. It's fine. I'll hold your hand through this process. But let's start with TERFs, who don't belong at Pride. TERFs, shorthand for trans exclusionary radical feminists, sometimes confused with lesbians who are exclusively attracted to the same sex and won't touch a tranny with a 10-foot pole because that's not their speed. Go figure. Now that does not include he/him lesbians, who both don't exist but also do not belong at Pride. That also does not include bisexual lesbians, who also don't exist and also do not belong at Pride. But that does include all of the elemental lesbians who apparently exist and are consistent of moon lesbians, sun lesbians, sea lesbians, and wind lesbians, which we're not even gonna get into. I don't have enough time. However, it should be noted that bisexuals are a completely different story when being considered for Pride. It is okay to be bisexual, but there's a caveat. It's not okay to be bisexual if you are hetero-exclusive bisexual. They're just posers. And they are looking for attention. Hetero-exclusive bisexual is a bisexual who only dates people of the opposite gender. So then, what the point of that is, I have no idea. Reminder for LGBT Pride Month: if you're not lesbian, gay, bi, or trans, this isn't your month. I don't care how GNC you are. If you're a furry, otherkin, astemmy, or a nonce, if you're not attracted to the same gender or experience gender dysphoria, do not let your voice be louder than any LGBT person this month. This is their month to celebrate who they are, how far they've come as a community, and raise awareness. If you're not LGBT, get off. Work hard like they are and get your own damn month. Sorry about writing errors. Oh boy. Get your own damn month. Well, they tried, my dear, but unfortunately the shortest month of the year was not granted to mine and my kind, the midgets of the community, as would be appropriate. Rather, the shortest month of the year was allotted for the black people, which is a very interesting turn of events, but that's besides the point. Another thing to consider, ladies and gentlemen, is that they tried to do a straight Pride Month. Actually, it was trending on Twitter for a hot minute there, and they probably also have rallied for furries, otherkins, demis, aces, etc. as well, only for them to have been universally shit upon by all of the masses. Rightfully so, in my opinion. I think Pride is stupid, but that's just my opinion. Then, in a further paradoxical leap in logic, there are the people who think that exclusionarily minded people themselves should be excluded from Pride, thereby accidentally excluding themselves from Pride. It should come as no surprise to those of you who have seen previous iterations of my War of the Queer series, where we document all of the infighting within the LGBT community. You can check that out. The link to the playlist is in the description down below. Those individuals with no attraction whatsoever to anyone, sexual or romantic or otherwise, or any combination of the two, absolutely do not belong at Pride. Those being the asexuals and the aromantics. Y'all always hype up weird asexuals for Pride Month, but always ignore lesbians every year. Asexuals aren't even a part of the LGBTQ+, and aren't oppressed. Lesbians and gays, transgenders, queers get murdered and raped for their sexuality. No one gives a if you're asexual or not. Oof. Tough crowd. And don't even get me started on the Ally Brigade, who only wish that they could show and share their support for their LGBT plus friendos, but by that virtue of not being LGBT plus, don't belong at Pride according to people. Last but not least, and you should know, Pride is absolutely for you if you're trans, but it's not for you if you happen to be a transgendered cop. Then you're a class traitor, unfortunately. Sorry, I don't make the rules. It's interesting because it's gotten to the point, all of the infighting and the gatekeeping has gotten to this point where people are dreading Pride Month because of all of this vitriol that happens every year around June. So, having gone through all of this nonsense, exactly determining what Pride is and what it isn't, or, you know, the confuddlement of what it is that people want it to be, deciding who does and who doesn't belong at Pride, the last thing I wish to leave you on is this. Pride isn't a party. If you go to Pride just to party, you don't belong at Pride. Remember what it's about. Words to live by, people.